Barbuda, the sister island of Antigua, is a highly vulnerable landmass. This small island is on the front lines of major hurricanes, with very few areas elevated above 100 feet. 1/3 of the island is a large lagoon. The lagoon is protected from the sea by a very narrow spit of sand. During the passage of Superstorm Hurricane Irma, the lagoon was breached in 4 areas.
Barbuda's vulnerability is also demonstrated by the closeness and interconnectedness of its habitats. There's nowhere for some species to run to. So that's from a terrestrial point of view. Very few places where you can relocate. It's small, so any impact is really going to impact the whole island.
There's another storm coming on Saturday, so we want to evacuate as much people as possible.
Everyone had to be evacuated from Barbuda, so we had all of those families coming over, so they're all completely displaced.
The livelihood and the way Barbuda is going to live is going to be altered. And first, the fishermen. The storm only not damaged their boats, their homes, but it also damaged the environment, the sea. If they have fish spots or fish traps out, they're all gone. Even to change the landscape. Places where they used to dive, they cannot dive at those spots anymore because they no longer exist.
On the marine side, there's no protection on that side. In fact, the coral reef ecosystems around Barbuda protect the land from the majority of the storm swells. Because we are on the Atlantic forefront, those swells can be very heavy, and particularly in hurricanes where you have swell storm surge driven by these high winds, there's massive impact from the strength and the power of waves.
I have a small business which fills tanks for the divers in Barbuda, and I don't have that anymore. The roof was gone, no electricity to run the compressor, so I got to look at some kind of means to get electricity, if it's not provided by the government, just for the divers to go out to make a living.
An operation like this and so on, running into the millions of dollars, is not anything uncommon. For an extended period now, it starts to add up because you don't want to be in an emergency phase for too long, but based on the nature and the scope of it, and having to have the humanitarian aspect of it and so on, sometimes these operations can extend for weeks or months depending on the situation. That's why you're always trying to get people rehabilitated and get them back to a sense of normalcy as soon as possible. You want to restore basic lifeline services, and that is one of the key things that we have been pushing to. You need to get back running water, you need to get back electricity, you need to get back basic sheltering, housing and so on, and you need to have those things in place so that when people mobilize back to their home and so on, they're mobilizing back into something. Something has to be prepared for them.
Immediately after the storm, we got in touch with some of our colleagues from UN Women, and they helped us mobilize some dignity kits. I think we had about 300 of them, and the dignity kits included just essentials like soap, deodorant, sanitary napkins, underwear, toothpaste, toothbrush, combs, just things that you need to kind of keep up hygiene and things that you probably have around your house. But since everybody was displaced, those are things we thought were really important for people to have. One of the things that's definitely going to be necessary is staffing. Getting somebody who is trained in dealing with both men and women, especially in the face of trauma. That's something we're going to need funding for, and that's something we're also in talks with the UN Women and UNFPA about. That would be, I think, the major concern in terms of psychosocial support.
So we do not need to go into a state of panic
We have to face the reality that some people will have to remain behind, but we want that to be a minimum of people, okay?
Doing something in Barbuda, you started to build a sort of normalcy, you know, and it's part of the rebuilding process, and I believe it's a healing process too. You know, you're fixing something that was devastated by the hurricane, and then now you're utilizing the same item or the same building, and it's therapy, if you want to call it that way. And I think that's how I look at it, and that is part of what it needs to be to rebuild Barbuda, both mentally and structurally. Everybody has a strategy of how to get back. Getting there is the challenge.